with life light flying around. Excitement in the campground. Well, they left one ambulance here. They took the other ambulance with the young man up to where the life flight was picking them up. And they'll be back to get this one. Been gone about 40 minutes, so hopefully we'll see what happens. Sadness. Sadness. Hope everything turns out all right. There goes life flight. See what happens. Well, as you saw in the previous clips, yeah, I had to call 911. First time I've had to call 911 being a camp host. But just a little history of what was going on. Um, it was a stressful evening, I can guarantee that. But what it was a medical emergency. This was not, it happened on the campground property, but it wasn't campground activities or related. So it wasn't an accident, it wasn't anything like that. Just that the family was here and they had a special needs young man, and he had a medical emergency and he quit breathing. And I don't know much detail. I didn't go. It wasn't my job to go find out, details on everything. I'm not investigator. Just I'm the camp host. I'm here to assist. And but the whole thing was the mother came up and she was pretty calm, and she said, "I need some help. He's not breathing. I can't call anybody." And I said, "I have access to a phone. Let me go ahead and call 911." Because I had the Starlink on and the generator was running. And I said, "I'll call 911. We'll get the ambulance started headed this way, then we'll kind of assess the situation." Well, in the meantime of all this, when I was calling 911, a camper noticed the commotion, and he came over and he said, "What's going on?" I said, "Somebody's not breathing." So he ran down there, and he was actually, later on, I found out, a off-duty military law enforcement person, and he started performing CPR. So, but I don't know, like I said, the whole details on it. And then the ambulance got here, two ambulances and a fire truck, and from the Cedar Mountain Rescue, and they were top notch. They were here quick, 10 to 12 minutes. Cedar Mountain Rescue Facility is only 8-10 miles away from here, but so they got here really quick, and they do staff in on premise, so they are there all the time. So that was really nice, because a lot of small towns and areas have people that are volunteers and have to come in, and it takes longer. So, but they did a top-notch job, and the young man was in the ambulance in just a matter of seconds, and they were doing CPR, and they put the tube down his throat, and they give a shot in the heart, and it was to watch the professionalism was interesting. It was sad, but it was interesting. So, and then a few minutes later, the life light shows up. So, and I don't know. In that last clip, when I said there goes life light, you can actually see it over the lake. The red and green lights taken off from the road, and where the staging area was, and they sent the young man to the hospital. And that's all I know. I don't know any other details. And, I'm not going to inquire to find out, really, because, it's not pertaining to the campground, and the situation here. It just happened to be, in this area. So hopefully we'll hear something will happen, and hopefully we'll hear something good. But we'll see what might come of this, and if the young man, survived and everything else, because it didn't look promising when he was put in the ambulance. I can tell you that right now. So, but we hope and that it came in a positive. So, but that was the night thing. The dark side of being a camp host. Like I said, I haven't had to call 911 before. being here. Nobody's had nobody's accidents or any kind of injuries that required medical attention besides a boo-boo or a cut on your finger or a scrape on your knee. But nothing this serious has happened. So, like it's mentioned before, it's very stressful, and you just got to stay calm. So, as being a camp host, then it's kind of like your job. Like I was saying, you need to organize. I had access to the outside communication; no one else did. So, it was kind of like you're the liaison to get help here. And then after that was taken care of, then the camp host can go into other duties and assist as needed. But that's one thing, you know, it's hard to prepare for. And I kind of knew the family because they were here before many times, and the part of the family stayed here last year for about a week and a half, so I got to visit with them a little bit. So it was kind of slightly a little personal because I kind of knew the family. Yeah, well, knew of them. I don't know really. I don't know any names, but I just know that they've been here many times. But that's the dark side of camp hosting, and it's something you really don't hear a lot about. But and you got to be prepared because something can happen and something will happen. And when it does, you need to kind of know what to do and jump in there. So but yeah, it was a rough evening. I had a rough time sleeping that night. It took me quite a while to settle down and process everything as was going through my mind. And it reminded me of my previous work experience. Just the little personal details is I worked for the natural gas company in Arkansas for 25 years. And as the ambulance was here, sitting here with all the lights going on and all the commotion, and they came back, and then we talked to the paramedics. I talked to the paramedics for a few minutes and got some a little bit of details, and then they like turned the lights off and left, and then it was dark. Uh, that to me sent me back in time, and when I was working with the gas company, we had to investigate fires, house fires, and structure fires. And so we would go out to a building that was on fire or had burned or something, and it could have been fatalities or it could have been just not fatalities. But we had to go through, and I do remember one night it was in the wintertime, and I had to go to this area north of our town, and it was a fatality fire. And so I was sitting over there waiting for the fire department and the police and all this thing to do their investigations and kind of thing. And so, but what we have to do is gas as utilities is we have to take the gas meter and the gas regulator and keep them in storage for a year for any kind of testing, if any kind of situation where a fire may have been caused from the utility used gas or propane or electric or whatever. And so we would have to store that. So we'd have to stay around and then go over there and disconnect the utilities gas situation and then leave. And then I remember that by when these firemen were here or the paramedics and they left and everything got dark because the campground gets really dark. The same way I felt the same way, in that same way because I was there waiting to do my job, and then all of a sudden everybody left, and I'm by myself, going like, "Wow!" It just struck like, "Wow!" It's just things happen, and it really absorbs into your mind and thinking and body. Like, well, somebody just had an accident, or somebody just died here, and now everybody just gone. So it's not funny, but it just like wow, I'm just out here alone all of a sudden, and I'm in the dark. But that reminds me. So we'll go on, and that's a 911 video. I mean the situation that happened here, and we do once again hope and pray that the young man is has survived his medical emergency, and things will go good. So if I know more sometime, I'll put it in here somewhere. But thanks for watching, everybody. And I wish it was better news, but it that's life. So we have to just take it what we can get. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on around the campsite.